Father from my heart. See what I'm present for about what I'm living in? There's truth that I'm destined to sin again. But repenting the Father, forgiving again and again and again and again and again. I remember the days I was low, but the Father was helping me grow. Hallelujah, I'm singing this song. Look up the eyes, he putting me on.
This that God music, you know that holy flow. We loud about our God, we don't keep him on the low. The spirit in our hearts, milk and honey in our flow. Keep it righteous in our talk, cause we reap what we sow. This that God music, you know that holy flow. We loud about our God.
Oh, praise to the Most High. Y'all, what's going on, y'all?
Keep it righteous in our talk, cause we
Shabbat
reap what we sow.
shalom.
Thing I like to
I
tell
hope
them is I
everybody
make
getting
it
their
look
rest on
easy.
today.
One thing about me is ain't no work on the
Today is
floor.
that
This
day.
that God music, so I'm about to clean it some more. Since he told us he would separate the sheep from the goat. Blah, Deuteronomy will show you the blow.
There we go. But yeah, I hope everybody got their rest in the day, because you know today is that day that the Most High set apart for us to chill, to be with family, to study, to understand and gain knowledge and wisdom, and some understanding. But definitely to cease from our regular activities of work and servitude. And this is your boy Abia at the Spit Your Truth podcast, and host of the Spit Your Truth podcast. My bad, let me get us up here, y'all. Me and my brother Achi'ka, and y'all already see what it is. It's the Sabbath talk with Moreh Achi'ka and your boy Abia. So today we're gonna talk about Leviticus chapter 19. It's been a topic that that I have debated some people on, and I've been taught a certain way to believe a certain way, but it was like, well, when I didn't, and when I started to study for myself and understand, I seen it a different way. But it's always another way to look at different things, to look at situations. It's always a different way to break things down and peel back the layers. And that's what we got Moreh Achi'ka here for. So let's get right into it. Like, shalom, bro. How you doing today? All praises to the Most High.
Shalom. How are you?
Man, I'm beautiful, man. The Most High is moving in everybody's life, moving in my life, and keeping us and sustaining us in life. So, that's a good thing, all praises.
All praise be to the Most High Yah. For his mercy and his ever-doing compassion towards the people who have rejected him for over the last several thousand years and have betrayed him in front of the whole heaven and those on the earth. We have done a horrendous thing that we have done to the Most High Yah. It's actually quite an embarrassment about how we've behaved and acted as a people with the Most High. And so, today, this is an opportunity for us to reflect upon, of course, the Shabbat of rest, but also too for us to think about what we have actually done.
Right.
He's given us an opportunity to do that. And when we're working all the time, or when we're busy with other activities, we can't really see that. We don't understand the significance of who the Most High is. So the Shabbat is one day to reflect upon what we've done, but also to look about everything that he's done, right? He says, 6 days, the Most High has created the heavens and the earth. And on the seventh day, he rested. And so, there's Psalms that are associated with the Shabbat. Matter of fact, chapter number 92 actually begins to talk about the Shabbat. And the psalmist was reflecting upon everything the Most High has made. And so that's why we're not allowed to light any fires on the Shabbat, because it's a creative work. Matter of fact, a man was stoned to death, chapter number 15, for gathering sticks on the Shabbat. What is he gathering sticks for? He wasn't building a house. He was going out there to light fire. Since we're talking about that, is it lawful for someone to light a fire on the Shabbat? The answer is no. Can you light your fireplace? No. Can you light a candle? No. Can you light your fire pit outside? No. Can there be any fire burning on the Shabbat? Absolutely not. No. What's the evidence of that, Kika? Why do you say that?
Right.
Well, when we look at the context of the Shabbat, this is found in Exodus chapter number 16. The Most High said, whatever you need to do, get it done the night before. Whatever you need to bake and prepare, you bake and prepare the night before. Because in the morning,
it ain't gonna be there, right?
Which is the Shabbat. There's no cooking on the Shabbat. There's no food prep on the Shabbat. So then you would say, well, how do I heat my food up? Since the stove ain't going. Could I use a microwave oven? Yes, you can use a microwave oven. Is that fire? No, that's not fire. Can you have a hot plate plugged up in the wall? Yes, you can have a hot plate to keep your food warm. Could you have an oven that has a timer on it to set to stay warm through the night? Yes, you can. But starting a fire, you can't do it. Can't do it. You know? So prepare what you need to prepare the night before. You got all day and you got all night to prepare your food.
Right.
I know a lot of people believe the Shabbat starts when the sun goes down on Friday, but again, we've already covered this. And look, I'm not going to be here to judge anyone. Okay. I want to be clear. If you want to do the Shabbat on Friday evening and you're rushing home and you got to get it done before 5 o'clock and you're eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, that's fine. That's fine. You fear Yahweh. That's where it's at. Well, on the same side of that coin, don't flip it on somebody who understands the Torah from their perspective. It says that the Shabbat starts in the daytime. It starts on the morning of. And there are some Shabbats that are 24-hour periods, which are the Day of Atonement and Pesach. Those are called the high Shabbats. Okay? So only 2 times that he makes a clear distinction. It says from the evening of the previous day to the evening of the next day. So those are the 2 times that evening to evening. So there are some Shabbats from evening to evening. There are 2 of them.
Right.
Pesach and Yom Kippur, which is the Day of Atonement, which just passed. Okay. What part of Leviticus 19 did you want to cover?
Okay, so let's get to it. And I'll bring it up on the screen so people can see it. But I'm sure you probably already got it.
Yep.
That's it. So I was looking at let me go to it. Now I'm reading out of the King James version because it's easier for more people to understand, I guess. But or more.
What verse
relevant.
did you want? What verse?
19.
Which verse did you want to check?
19.
19. Okay. Right.
So I say
so
it says, yeah. Okay, you go read it.
No. Go ahead. I was just gonna say the King James version is a good version, but the only concern that I have is that it's in English. It's not gonna say it the way, but it's good for them to have some contrast to be able to look at it and hear it in English versus what it does say and how is it being said. And of course, finding out where does it start and where does it end. Remember, that's what we've been learning, right? So when you start at 19, me looking at it right now, verse 19 is the last verse of the teaching. As you can see here on the screen, verse number 19, I'm going to put right here. I'm going to highlight it, make it larger right here. It begins with this word et right here. That right there is the beginning of verse number 19. But as you notice at the end of 19, there is that this symbol right here that tells us that this verse cannot be understood simply based on just verse number 19.
Right.
We got to go find out, where does it begin, the teaching begin, and where does it stop?
Oh, okay.
See, this is opening this is the letter Pei in Hebrew, meaning open your mouth. Because now I'm about to open up another teaching. So whatever this here in 19 is talking about, verse 20 is a whole nother situation, talking about if a man lies with the woman, which you can see that's different from my statutes of your livestock. You should not breed with any other kind. You shall not sow the mixed seed of a garment and the mixed seed of wool and linen. Meaning I could just read that verse and understand that, but the Most High will want us to know everything that's in that teaching so you can get a complete understanding. So we would have to find out, where does it begin? Because we know where it ends. It ends at verse number 19. Well, where did it actually start? Well, I'm scrolling up. Do I see that symbol of what they call a stuma? No, I don't see a stuma. That letter S. I don't see that. I don't see a letter P. So that tells me that obviously, verses 1, 5, 6, there's not there. 7, nothing. 8, nothing. 9, nothing. 10, there's no break. 11, there's no break. 12, no break. 13, nothing. 14, nothing. 15, nothing. 16, nothing. 17, nothing. 18, nothing. 19, boom. There it is right here. But I still don't know where it started. It might not begin in verse number 1. So we have to do is go to the previous the previous chapter. Because in Hebrew, there are no chapters.
Right.
See? So I'm going to go to number 18 right quick, and we're going to go all the way to the bottom, and we're going to find out where's the end and where's the beginning. That's what we have to do. So here it is. Boom. So now this is the last verse in chapter number 18, right? Which is verse number 30. So it's telling me you got permission now to understand that verses 1 through 19 on chapter number 19 all go together.
Okay. So let's read those last two verses.
Yeah, we're gonna read. Yeah, we have to, right? That's how it goes, so we can get a proper understanding. See, one of the problems we have, Ak, is that people generally would take one verse, like Christians do, and they would strip it out of its context. That's like taking a book or a story and taking out one line of the story and creating a whole nother movie off of it, when that was not the intent or the purpose of the author, right? So we're gonna have to be 100 with it and say, okay, well, in the scrolls, the division, they call it chapters in English, but the division of the scrolls would tell us you have to begin in verse number 1 of chapter number 19, so you can understand why he's saying what he's saying. So let's read verse number 1. It says, and he spoke Yahweh to Moses, saying, speak to all the congregation of the sons of Israel and say to them, Kadosh, Kodashim, you shall be Kodadosh, meaning they say in English, holy is Kodashim right here. You're going to be Kodashim. Okay.
Right.
And when he's talking speaking to them, he's talking about speaking to them in a way. This is a command right here. Verse number 2. This is a command. It's an imperative right here, IMP, that tells you that means that this is a command. Okay.
Right.
The way that he's commanding them is in a verb action. That's not like, hey, let me speak to, can I talk to you guys for a minute? He say, you literally force, when you speak to them, you need to talk to them forcefully. And that's right here in chapter number 19, verse number 2. So he's saying, be Kadosh, for I am Kadosh. All of you guys need to be this, the whole entire congregation. Okay. You need the sons of Israel. You need to say to them, Kodashim, you shall exist. You're going to be Kodashim. Kodosh means to be set apart. So by the time we get to 19, he's going to tell us, as if when you're set apart, everything about you going to have to be set apart. Your animals going to have to be set apart. Your food's going to be set apart. Your clothing can be set apart. The fabrics you're going to use are going to be set apart. You're not going to use two different fabrics because they don't go together. They could cause problems. And so, fabrics have frequency. So you can't hook wool to linen. because they're two different frequencies.
Yeah,
It's not
they'll
that they're
cancel
not
each
two
other
materials, but they have two different
Right.
frequencies, right? And so if you try to sew them together, they're not going to operate. They're not going to what they would call function correctly.
Yeah. Okay.
See?
So
So
we are
go ahead.
going on the guidelines of what I was about to talk about. The last part of that verse where it speaks about, hold on. It says the last part, it says thy field with mingled seed, neither shall you a garment of mingled with linen and woolen come upon thee.
Mhm.
Now, this is what I was taught. That was an example. It wasn't a direct narrative or a direct directive. It was an example. Like, okay, so you don't mingle your clothes, no garments with like you would mingle wool and linen. You don't mingle those together. Like, it was always taught like it was an example. And I always was like, well, the Most High usually always talks in a direct narrative, especially when he's trying to get a point across, and especially when he's trying to know, because he know that we were medial. So he had to talk like, are you understanding what, like, he had to talk like that to us. You know what I'm saying? Because he would talk and we still wouldn't listen. We just do what the fuck we wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. The question would be though, too, is like, how, okay, so people choose on how they want someone to talk to them, right?
Right.
So the Most High, and a lot of things that he does say to us, we don't understand it. Okay. Right. So last week, I think we covered it. It says that there's some secrets that belong to Yah, but the things that are revealed to us belong to us and our children so that we might be able to keep the Torah. So the Most High is not giving us instructions and laws with us having a complete understanding. So he doesn't give commands because we have to understand the command in order to do the command. Okay. My example about that would be, I will start with the master versus servant, because that's stronger than the child versus parent. Okay.
Okay.
The master versus the servant. When the master gives the servant a command, the servant doesn't question the master and ask the master why. Doesn't ask why. They just do. See, that's the problem. When a father asks a son to do something, the child asks why. The father doesn't have to answer why. I just said do it. You don't have to know every reason why the Most High is asking you to do something. Just do what you're told. That's as simple as it is. But the way that we've grown up and what we're accustomed to, I mean, the generation now, I don't know about your generation. No, I know your generation. We were told, do what I tell you to do. You don't do as I do. You do as you're told to do. Right? You stay in a child's place. Right? You don't ask me any questions. But now we've come to a point where people have to sit there and try to explain everything to everyone. The point is, if the master has to explain and give us an explanation on why he's commanding us, then there's no reason for us to be a servant. Now we're no longer a servant. Now we're a companion of the Most High, and we're like a buddy, a friend. Okay.
Right.
And that's not how it rolls. Okay. The Most High, I know in English it said Abraham was the Most High's friend and he was his friend and all this. No, it doesn't say that in Hebrew. It says that he loved him. Okay, the Most High doesn't have any friends. Okay.
Yeah, he loved him. You know what I'm saying? He loved him. That love was like that. Yeah.
Yeah, not like a love of a friend. He doesn't even use the word friend. It's not even there. So the Most High has a love for our Father. And our Father was a servant to the Most High. He wasn't the Most High's friend. He wasn't his buddy. You understand? I'm talking about Abraham. Right. So none of our fathers were Yah's friend. They're Yah's servant. Moshe was not with Yahweh's friend. Nobody is Yahweh's friend. He doesn't have any friends.
Right.
He doesn't have any companion. There's nobody beside him. There's no one that he consults with. There's no one. I'm about to lose it. You hear it?
Right.
He doesn't. There's no one that he consults with.
Yeah.
Who's counseled him? Who does he owe? Who does he talk to in order to make the decisions that he makes? There's nobody. So the Most High doesn't have friends. Okay. So
Right.
long of the short is, if he told us don't mingle your fabrics, that is a command that has to go with verse number 2, as you can see right here. Because when you separate them, then you're being kodashim. That's what we are. We're supposed to be kodashim. This is what you are supposed to exist. Because it says you shall be, that word right there, you be, meaning to you will exist. This is how you are to exist when you and I are close to the Most High.
Right.
And that's what our call is. And so everything going from verse number 1 all the way down, he says, and he tells you the reason why that you need to do this. He says, for ki kadosh ani, I am kadosh. Yahweh Elohim, your Elohim. I am Yahweh, your Elohim. Again, that's the first word that is used in what? In the covenant.
Right.
He's telling you who I am. So the way he sees it is that any type of fabrics that are joined together don't supposed to be together. That is what you call profane. Now let's take it from what he said. Those are examples, as someone told you. Yes, that's an example. It's a great example. But it's actually a command. So when he says this, he also says that you shouldn't mate two different types of animals together. You shouldn't plow your field with an oxen and donkey. They're two beasts of burden, but they're two separate animals.
Mm-hmm.
You're not supposed to make two different animals together. Two men don't supposed to be together. They have their counterparts, right? So why is he giving these examples? Well, what we understand is this. If you mate or plant anything, even a vineyard, you can't have red grapes and a white grape in the same field because they're different. They operate differently. They grow differently. They taste differently. They look different. They might be the same, like a lion and a cheetah. They're both wild cats, but they're different. The DNA structure is different. How they respond is different. Yah's telling us that you cannot combine anything or nobody or anything else that you're trying to link up with me. You can't. And neither, if you can't link me up with any other God, like your Savior, JC the Christ, or any other God that you think there is, that he said, I'm alone, there's no one else, then you should surely know that he says that you need to be what I am. So you can't link up with somebody that's not willing to follow the Most High. You can't link up with other nations. You can't eat what they eat. You can't dress the way they dress. You can't think the way they think. You supposed to be separate because I need Yahweh Elohim. Kadosh Kia Kadosh Ani. I am, and what I'm saying is, for I am holy. Yahweh says. That's the reason. Yeah. Be Kadosh. Part of being Kadosh in verse number 3 is talking about every one of you have a mother and father. You must fear them. Everyone who's going to be Kadosh has to fear their mother and father. They have to revere them. They have to honor them and be afraid of them like you are Yahweh. And he says not only that, and my Sabbaths. You're going to teach Moru. You are going to do it. Why? Because I need Yahweh. I am Yahweh, your Elohim. That is his signature. So you got to fear your parents. And that verb about fearing your mother and father is also going around fearing what? The Sabbath days, which you talked about how you wanted to talk about Sukkot, and you wanted to talk about some of the Moedim. Part of the Moedim, the appointed times, are Yahweh's Sabbath days that you are supposed to not keep like you put in your pocket, but tishmaru, which are you are supposed to, second person masculine plural, to guard my Sabbath days? Question is how do you guard it? That's the question. How do you guard something that you don't know nothing about? And the question is, are we truly guarding Yahweh's Sabbath days? Let's just start with the Sabbath on today. Are we guarding the Sabbath? How do you guard it? I'll give you an example. I had a choice to make, okay? This weekend was my wife's birthday, or earlier this week. So we went out somewhere, and I stayed there for 2 days, and today was the Shabbat. And all the time we were there, we're eating and drinking and all this kind of stuff. Eating, drinking food, eating food, drinking, wine and water and all this other kind of stuff. Sabbath day comes and says, okay, well, how do you buy or sell on the Sabbath? Most High says you're supposed to you're supposed to honor the Sabbath. They said, well, it's not in the Torah that says that you can't buy and sell. So the question is why would you not buy and sell on the Sabbath? Well, according to what Yahweh says, because it doesn't say in the Torah that you're not supposed to buy and sell. That is found in the book of Nehemiah. That's where that's found at, right? And people say, well, it's not a command because it's not in the Torah. Well, if you and I understand what it is written in the Torah, when he talks about the Sabbath, the time of the Sabbath is not just a time of rest, okay? It is a time of ceasing from work, okay? So how do they come up with not buying or selling besides the book of Nehemiah? The buying and selling part is in order for someone to have to buy something, there has to be someone who's there to sell it. If they're selling it, that means that they're working. You understand? When you're paying them, you're paying them for the work that they're doing. So in my case this morning, to have them for me to go buy breakfast, I would be buying breakfast. And the moment that I purchased it, someone had to serve me to go get the food and bring it to me. That is against Yahweh's Sabbath. Because that person who is working is not honoring the Sabbath day. They are breaking the Sabbath day. It is a crime to work on the Sabbath day. But we know, well, we're in exile, Achi'ka. Some of us don't have a choice. Yes, I understand that. But does that change the fact that it's still a Sabbath? Does it change the fact that it's no longer a crime? Because you work your job doesn't mean that it's not a crime. So, as I tell everyone who listens to me, I have a daughter who has to work on the Shabbat because that's the kind of work she's a nurse. So she has to work on the Sabbath. If she had a job where she wasn't able to work on the Sabbath, that'd be fine. No, she wouldn't be working on the Sabbath. Okay. I got another friend who works on the Sabbath. His job requires him to do the work that he's do on the Sabbath day. But guess what he does? He makes sure that his meals are prepared. He makes sure that he's not going out buying and selling. He makes sure he does everything he possibly can to show the Most High that, look, I don't want to participate in this. I'm in slavery. So I'm being oppressed. I'm forced to have to do this in order to survive, in order for me to take care of my family. So the Most High knows this. It's just a matter of whether or not you and I recognize the Sabbath to the best of our ability, just like the Sukkot, just like the appointed times. You want to add anything to that, Aviyah?
Nah, I'm listening. I mean, I definitely feel that that the Sabbath is that set apart day, and that we do need to observe the whole thing of what he's telling us, because like you said, it doesn't say that we're not supposed to buy and sell, but when you go and buy something from somebody, they working. And that, like how we always say, when you break one law, you break a couple more than just that one. You know what I'm saying? Because they all intertwine, they all go together, and they're relevant to each other. So when you do touch on one, you touch on a bunch of them. And that was a good point that you brought out about that, like that, about the other person working. You might not be working, but that other person is working, and you're participating in this person working knowingly. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
yeah, like that ain't no ignorant sin right there. You know what you doing.
You know. Yeah, you can't. We can't, and we have to be careful because we can't leverage Yahweh's. We can't leverage exile to allow us to break Yah's laws.
Right.
Right. Because if I start with that, then it's going to go to something else. So, example. Well, I'm in exile. I don't have to prepare my food on the day before because I'm in exile. I'm oppressed, so I could do that. Well, then it could go to that to I'm not in the land, so I can do that. I'm not in the land, so I can commit adultery because there's no stoning going to happen. I can actually steal and not really be held accountable. And let's flip it and say, well, let's say I'm trying to pretend to be extra righteous. Right. So now I say, well, the place that I live is not defiled. The bread that I'm eating is not defiled. I can set that apart as not defiled because some kind of way spiritually is no longer defiled. The bread that I'm eating is not defiled. So it could be on either side of that spectrum. We could go extra, take advantage and commit crimes against the Most High, but also too, we could commit crimes against the Most High by trying to be, saying that we're not in exile and saying that we're not under a curse right now. Not saying that we're his people when he says that you're at this moment, you're not my people. Why do you mean, Achi'ka? Why are you saying he said we're not our people? Because when you and I are being recognized as Yahweh's people, then we will be in Yahweh's presence. But when you don't know the Torah and you don't know what it says about when you go in your exile, you can make up and imagine all the different things to try to justify or to prove that you're not in the situation that you're in, which you're missing the whole point of even being in exile. Being here is just a test. It's just to find out whether or not you're going to do what he says, either positively or negatively. See?
Right.
So to answer the question, just to kind of go on the thing about the Sukkot, this week and last week and the week before and probably next week, people are going to be celebrating Sukkot all over the world, all over this country. Some celebrated it last week. Some celebrated 2 weeks ago. Some celebrate this week. I'm celebrating this week. Some people celebrate it next week. We're not in a position to judge one another. Most High said, when you're in the land that I'm taking you, you're not going to be able to celebrate. You're going to be in exile. He said, I know that you want to keep the Passover. He said, I know you want to keep the Moedim, but you're not able to because you're facing reproach. That's in the book of Amos. You can't do it. So what do you do? How do you do it? How do you commemorate it? Like you said, how do you honor the memorial of it? And I would say that you do it wholeheartedly. You do it understanding, like, yeah, we know that you put us in exile. We don't have a priesthood. We don't have a priest. We don't have a high priest. We don't have a temple. We don't have an altar. We don't have anything. So should we not keep or guard what you said? What should we do? How do we do it when we can't do it? That's the question. And that's difficult.
Right.
That's very difficult for us to accept.
Yeah,
we're on punishment. We are on punishment.
And I think that's why he said in Leviticus 20:26, he said, y'all, if y'all, think yourself and accept your punishment, and ask for forgiveness. Yeah, I'll get y'all together. But, I don't think that we are accepting that punishment all the way.
No, we're not. We're actually, hold on. I'm going to be talking. I'm going to I need to find a charger for my laptop.
Okay.
We're still live, but praise Yah. We don't want to accept it. It's like we're very difficult. We're difficult people. Hey, hold on for just a moment, okay?
Okay. Praises. But yeah, y'all, we, it's the season of Sukkot. Get them tents built up, man, and and commemorate. I wish I could, man. I don't have a area. I could probably pitch a tent outside or something like that, but I don't have an area to where I can really do it. And it's no excuse, but I'm just saying, I don't have an area to really do it. So I wish I could. Like I wish we could, observe the laws and the feast days. Excuse me, bless God bless. But that we have, and I think that's like the brother was just saying. I think that we really do need to, have that sorrowfulness, and I think that's what Yom Kippur should have been about. Us being sorry to the Most High, and feeling downtrodden because we can't do what He wants us to do in this land because we're not set apart, like He said. We're supposed to be set apart because He's set apart. So I think the biggest thing that a lot of people miss is that we have to, we can observe and we can keep, but the biggest thing is to accept that punishment and to understand that, we and feel bad about the things that we can't do that the Most High ordered us to do. Just like you said, He know where He put us at. He know where we at. So, we have to, learn how to be, set apart and to make sure that we are doing what we need to do to please Him, in the way we need to please Him. All praises. But I see your suit. Oh, look at that, man. He got his set up, y'all. Look at that. That's beautiful. Like this, and it's blowing, and man, so it's a beautiful thing when we really take and do the things that the Most High wants us to do, and and observe these feast days, because it's like it feels good. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you and your family doing it, and then you doing it with a congregation, and y'all just doing it. It's just love, and y'all praising the Most High. Y'all just trying to observe and trying to show the Most High to put the best foot forward for the Most High. It's a beautiful thing. All praise.
Yeah, it is, and there's nothing wrong with being part of a congregation that does that. I just think the problem that we're having is that we're not fully acknowledging. It's just a very fine line, right? So we're thinking, okay, when we say set apart, right? There's different levels to being set apart. There's a whole bunch of different levels. So the level that's mentioned in chapter number 19 is dealing with being inside of the land with Him.
Okay.
When He's living among us, that is different.
Right.
Now, when they were in the wilderness, they were told to be kadosh, to separate themselves, consecrate, because that's what consecration is being kadosh, right? So when He told them to go wash your clothes and don't go next to your wife, to set yourselves apart. So setting yourself apart can be on several different levels. It could be just washing your clothes and bathing your body and not having sexual intercourse for a couple of days.
Right.
That's the level. Then when you get to Isaiah chapter number 6, where he had a vision, and in his vision, he had to be purified in a vision. So they took coals off of the altar that was in the heavenlies and put it on the man's mouth off the altar and put it in his mouth to purify his voice, his words. Because he said, hey, I saw this. I'm a sinful man. I come from a sinful people. They took the coal and purified him and removed his sin and set him apart. So we see, and when he heard the beings, they were like, Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. And they say that all the time. In the heavens, on the throne. Because Yah is Kadosh all the time.
Right.
So there's different levels. So when we're in our exile, we have to be honest with ourselves and say, well, number one, we're not doing this because we're doing it properly. That's Deuteronomy chapter number 10, verse 12. All day long, we're doing what we believe to be right in our own eyes while we're in the land of our exile. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. You and I are not doing it the way that He wants it done. That's what He's telling us. When He lived in sukkahs, they made the sukkahs out of plants, out of palm branches, out of myrtle trees. There was not no tent material. There wasn't no sheer nylon that you see right here. This is not what He asked for.
Right.
So no matter how I try to dress it up, no matter how many lights I put around it, no matter what the meal looks like, the food is defiled, the land is defiled, this land is defiled, the people are defiled. This right here is filthy. I don't care if I write Israel all over. I don't care. I got a flag. I can show you. I got a flag hanging up right now. I got a flag hanging up right now. Has a manure on it. Does that set me apart on a certain level? It does. It says that I'm acknowledging it. But in Yahweh's eyes, is he going to accept it? Well, let's ask the question. Yes and no. And what do I mean by yes and no? What I mean is this. Yah looks at the intent of the heart and the mind. So while we're in our exile, you have to demonstrate. Your book is over there. You have to demonstrate that you're sorry. You have to demonstrate it. So what I like for you to do, Ak, if you don't mind, is read Deuteronomy chapter number 30. So the people just hear, we could just tell them where we're going. And you just read verse number 1, and then we'll go to verse number 2, and that will answer our question about how do we do the Sukkot or Pesach or any of these other appointed times. He's going to tell us exactly. Yeah.
30
and 1. Read, what does it say?
All right. 30 and 1.
Yep.
It says, hallelujah, it says, and it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whether Yahuwah thy Elohim have driven thee. That's
See,
the first verse.
So you're gonna call. You are gonna call it to mind. All the blessings and the cursings. It's gonna be in you. Matter of fact, he's talking to the generation that was about to go into the land. It's the second generation. So the first generation got killed off in the wilderness. The second generation, he's talking to them. So they were never scattered to the four corners of the earth. So who is he talking to when he says you're going to call it to mind when you are scattered among the nations? That can only mean one thing. You were there.
Right.
That is one of the secrets of the Torah that Yah has revealed to us at this in particular time. He's letting you know, I've been dealing with you for a long time. You're the people that were out in the wilderness. You're the one I'm talking to in Deuteronomy chapter number 30. You're the one who's going to come to your mind about what's happened to you. Verse number 2, please.
Verse number 2. And shall return unto Most High, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day. Thou, thy children.
Hold on. Let's don't go any further. I'll pause. I'm sorry for interrupting you. It says you're going to return. That word return right there is not what they would call the word to return. Actually, it is return, but it is to return to doing something, to being something. And what it means is to become a witness back to the Most High. You're gonna testify and be a witness to him. Why is this important? Because the idea of being an eyewitness is someone who goes back and forth to the tent of meeting. And so the only time that you go to the tent of meeting or recognize the tent of meeting is through the appointed times that you're supposed to show up at those times. So the 3 times a year that Israel is supposed to show up before the Most High is during the time of what they call matzah, Feast of Matzah, okay, Shavuot, the Feast of the Gathering, right? And of course, the last feast was the Sukkot, is the Feast of Ingathering. Every time you came to him, you had to come to him with something in your hands to recognize, to testify that he is your Elohim. So if you notice in that verse 2, I'm going to have you read verse 2 again. Read it again, nice and slow. And I might stop you because I want to bring out a point. Go ahead.
Okay. Verse 2. And shall return unto Yah thy Elohim, and shall obey his voice according to all that he command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart and with all thy soul.
Okay, in that, did he say that you're going to do? Did he say that you're going to? It said you're going to obey that all that he has commanded you today. Okay,
Right.
so you're going to obey his voice, because in Hebrew it does it says his voice. You're going to listen to his voice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shema.
So what you're really doing is you're listening to what he has said. So let me do us a favor so I can bring it out so everybody can see it, so they won't say I'm making it up. And the host and Achi'ka is telling us stuff that they're just talking. They're making this up as they go along, so it sounds good, so they can convince us that they know what they're talking about. No, we're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter number 30, and I'm going to bring it out in the Hebrew. And I'm going to show you that there's something different about what we can do and what is it that he's really looking for, because this is talking about the time of him bringing it back to our attention, and how we supposed to return to the Most High. So if you share my screen with you, let me share it. Okay, so you can see. Can you see my screen? Can you share my screen? There you go.
Yeah.
Cool. Now we're in verse number 2, everyone. You look at this right quick. It says right here, the first word is wa shafta. Okay. That word is to return. That means that you were going in one direction and you're flipping around and you're going to turn. That's what return is to turn. Okay. Turn. You're going to turn back from the direction you were going, and it says to, but this word here is a preposition, not to. To would be el. This is odd. And the first letter is the ayin, which has to do with the eye. And the second letter is the dalet, which has the door, which is the eye of the door, which is that you are going to be a witness.
Witness. Wow. That is
to the door of the tabernacle. So this is what you're returning to. Okay. That's how you return to Yahweh. And it says your Yahweh, your Eloheka, your Elohim. And it says, and Washemata, you're going to Shema Israel. You are going to Shema. It's in the second person masculine singular. So it's not talking to a group of people. It's talking to the individual. He's not talking to everybody. He's talking to the people who choose to return, because not everybody's going to return to Yahweh. Not this is not going to come to everybody's mind. That's why the final letter there is a ta, and that means you. You can look right underneath here. It's a 2ms, second person masculine singular. Talking to you, individual. So you're gonna shemata. So you're gonna ad to Yahweh. You're going to was shafta to Yahweh first, and then ad to Yahweh, being a witness to Yahweh, and then you're gonna was shemata. You're going to obey and listen to his bakolo, his voice. So did it say that you're going to be able to do everything he said? No. So he's not looking for you to do everything he's saying. That's not what he's looking for. He's looking for a shemata, and he's looking for a shafta. The only two things he's looking for. In context, you individual, to listen and obey to his bakolo, which a kokol asher anoki. Moshe is talking everything that I am commanding you today. He's not telling you you're going to do everything he's saying. He said you're just going to listen to it, and you're going to return. You're going to return to be a witness, and you're going to listen, and you're going to listen to it.
This is delicious.
Yeah. I'm not asking you to do it because I know you can't do it. I'm asking you to was shemata.
Right.
To my voice, which is everything Moshe was commanding them. So if you even take the time to listen to the command,
Your Truth podcast.
Just listen to the command. Consider the commandment. He didn't tell you to do nothing. The word for do is not even mentioned right here, not in this section. When we continue to read, he's going to tell you when you're going to do. So when we're keeping this Moedim, this set apart, a matter of fact, these two letters right here, the odd right here, is a key word that's part of Moedim. And ayin and the dalet is an appointed time. Those letters are in the word for Moedim. So I said it. So let me prove it. Okay. So we're gonna come back there. These two letters. I want you to look at them as an ayin. This first letter right here, it's like a Y, and then here's this dalet right here. Those two letters are part of the word of moed, which is the appointed time. Moedim are the appointed times. Okay. So let's go verify and see whether or not Achi'ka is telling us the truth about being a witness, and how is being a witness connected to the set apart times. Well, we can go to Leviticus chapter number 20. Huh?
I love our language, man. I love the language, and it gets
isn't it delicious? Isn't it delicious? Isn't it delicious? Doesn't it taste good? The title right here is the Feast of the Lord. That's the title, the Feast of the Lord. That's in English. Let's go find out what he is talking about. So it says here in verse number 1. Why do better Yahweh, meaning Yahweh spoke to Moshe, El Moshe, not Ad to El. I told you it's not Ad, it's El. He talked to something is El Moshe, Lamor, saying, speak, Daber the El B'nai of Israel. Go say and speak it to the children of Israel, and say Elohim to them. Here are my Moeday. Right here, feast. That's the word is used for feast, but it's really not feast. It's really a set apart appointment time. 4150 Strongs. Look it up. But I want you to see something. I want you to see the two letters that are at the end. It's an ayin and a dalet. So when he says that you're going to return to me, what you're going to do is you're going to washafta to the Moedim. You're going to testify to Yahweh's Moedim and tell me why. Why does he want us to odd? Why does he want us to not turn to, but return and be a witness to Yahweh's Moedim? Why? Because it was the Moedim, these festivals that you had mentioned earlier, Aviyah, that are so significant. Every one of them point to what he did for the children of Israel. Pesach tells you about what he did by delivering us out of our slavery. Matzah tells us that he brought us out and he fed us with manna. You understand? That's what it's telling us. Matzah, I'm feeling you. I'm taking care of you. I fed you. Okay, I gave you the bread of affliction for the matzah. I'm telling you that I delivered you from your affliction when you're eating that matzot, okay, for 7 days. Shavuot is when I gave you the Torah for Mount Sinai. Sukkot is when I let you live in the wilderness with me for 40 years in tents, in sukkahs. I provided for you and I took care of you. So when you look at feast, I'm going to click on it. 4150 is going to tell you it's called a moed, which I've been telling you it's an appointed time right here. And what's in there is the letter, the ayin and the dalet right there. The two letters I told you to focus on. So it is a meeting. The end of meeting, the appointed time where you're supposed to show up.
Right.
You're supposed to assemble together in front of the Most High. So when he talks about you returning to me, what he's literally saying is you're going to testify and be a witness to the tent of meeting. Because the appointed times is a sign. The feasts are a sign of Yah. So this Sukkot that you're celebrating last week, or you celebrated this week, or you're celebrating next week, or the following week, it doesn't matter right now. Because as long as you're listening, Washamata, you have listened to this voice of Yah's, and you're taking the responsibility, you're taking in consideration what he said. He doesn't care that you put up a 10. You showing your good faith and your effort towards the Most High. He knows that the 10 is filthy. He doesn't care because you're already in filth. but your mind, you made up your mind that I'm with Yah. You're testifying to He is your Elohim. You're testifying He's the one who brought you out of Mitzrayim. You're testifying that He's the one that brought us through the wilderness for 40 years. You're testifying to the fact that He brought us into the land. You're testifying to the fact that He allowed us to live in the wilderness for 40 years in Sukkot. Everything He's ever done for us. That's what the feasts represent. And so going back to not Leviticus, Deuteronomy chapter number 30, you will see again when He says that I want you to return. It's not to, it's odd. It's being a witness to the Most High. And He's not asking you to do anything because He knows that you can't do it. The problem would be if you and I were to turn around and try to offer Him something that He says you cannot offer to me. And you think that when you offer it to Him, it will be accepted. It will not be accepted. In Hebrew, it's talking about ratzon, meaning the Most High will not delight in it because it's not done in the proper place, which He would call the makom, the kadosh makom, the mikom, where He is chosen to yivkar His shame, to choose to place His name there. Shem sham. Place your name right there in the place that Yah chose out of all the tribes of Israel. He did not choose this place that you and I are living right now to place His name. So all these stupid people out here that are telling you that His name is in the location in the filthy building that they're renting and leasing, it has cockroaches, turds in the damn toilet. You understand? Hyperthermic needles outside from drug addicts is not the place where Yahweh's name is. We should show some respect unto Yah. Going back to verse number 2 was Shavta. You are going to return to be a what? Not to, but to be an odd. A witness. Eyewitness to Yahweh Eloheka. And you're going to washamata to the Bekolo. To His voice. And by the way, people, His voice is His command. That's what His voice is. That's why His name is Yahweh Zavaot, because the word Matzawa has to do with Zava, which is the military army. Yah says, I'm the commander of the commands. I'm the one who gives out every command. I commanded the sun. I commanded the moon. I command the stars. I command the sea. I command everything. You're going to return to that. And guess what? It's going to be the stuff that He told them on that day. Did He not mention the Moedim in chapter number 16 of the book of Deuteronomy? Yes, He did. Did He not tell them about the diet mentioned in chapter number 14 of Deuteronomy? Yes, He did. Did He not tell them about the covenant mentioned in chapter number 5 of the book of Devarim? Yes, He did.
Yes, He
That's
did.
what you're going to return to. You and your children, with all of your Lavavika and all of your Nafshika, which has to do with Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad, Wahafta et Yahweh Eloheka, with a kol Lavavika, Nuva kol Nafshika, and Nuva kol Meodika. Well, what does that mean? It means that you are to listen, Israel. The Yahweh is one, and you to love Yahweh with all your heart, which is your mind, all of your soul, and all of your strength. So in Deuteronomy chapter number 30, that tells you why you're in the land of your enemies, you are supposed to washafta, to return to Yahweh, to be a witness, and to listen to His voice, which is the things that was commanded on that day. You, individual, you and your children, with all of your soul, with all your heart. Going back to remind you about the Shema Yisrael, the number one command. Is that not what we found out as Shema Yisrael, where He told us, going back to Shema Yisrael, where's that at? Where's Shema Yisrael? Well, it's found in Deuteronomy chapter number 6.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember, He said, Yahweh Echad. I showed you last week, and I'll show it to you again just for the sake, so you can see that the Most High is bringing us to the same place that he's always talking to us about. Chapter number 6, verse number 4, it tells us something. Right here, you see the Putuka right here, verse number 3, don't go with 4. It's over. 3 is done. He ain't talking no more about that. He opens up with verse number 4, Shema Yisrael. That's an imperative, a command. The last letter used there is an ayin, which is the first letter of a witness. Then he says he's a kad, which is the last letter is a dalet, which again, you put those two letters together, is a witness. So what are you testifying to? You're testifying that Yah is one. There is no one else besides Yahweh. What are you testifying with Deems? That it was Yahweh who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim. What are you testifying to the covenant? I am Yahweh, Noki Yahweh Eloheka, Asherdi Hotzatika Me'eretz Mitzrayim. I'm the one who brought you out from the land of Mitzrayim. There was nobody with Yah. That's what you're testifying to. So when you keep these set apart times, unless you're like one of these people out here saying, well, we're not in the land, so we can't properly keep it, so we're not going to keep it at all. We're not in the land, so we can't keep the Shabbat. We're not going to keep it at all. We're not in the land, so we don't have to worry about, we can cook on the every day is the same day. We're not in the land. Guess what Yah says? When you're in the lands of your enemies, you're going to return to testify to what I said.
Right. Man,
you're going to look at what I said.
Yeah, you just brought that out beautifully, man. Like, you go testify, be a witness.
You're going to testify. That's all you're doing. You understand? So that's it. Then he goes on in Deuteronomy 30. I don't want to take too much time up, but he goes on in Deuteronomy 30 and he tells you, when you continue to read, he tells you that I'm going to come and get you from the places I scattered. And then when I bring you back to the land, then that's when you're going to do everything I said. Not when you're in the lands of your enemies. You can't do what I'm asking you to do when you're in the lands of your enemies. But you can return and you can listen. You can testify and you can testify that we've gone against Yah.
Yep.
He tells you in Leviticus 26, if you would admit and confess that you went against me and that your ancestors hated me and they rejected my laws, that's what I want you to say.
Right. Say exactly that.
Say it. We hated you. Our ancestors hated you. They went against you. They broke your laws. They hated your commandments. They were revolted at you. They hated you. But I don't. I'm going to testify that you're my Elohim. I don't hate you. I'm going to listen to your voice. They didn't listen. I'm going to listen. I'm going to make up for what they didn't do.
Whoa. Testify to our ancestors hated our Father, our God. Like that's the only way you can prove that's the only way you can prove that you learned your lesson. That's the only way you can prove that you don't hate him, is by loving them enough to say to who is right and who is wrong. Our ancestors were wrong and they were dead wrong. So what do I look like protecting them? What do I look like protecting Big Mama and Grandpa? And they hated him. If he said it, then he means it. And if you are not saying that he sent you here, then you're in denial that you have actually went against him. You can't even get back to Yah without admitting and confessing that he's the one who put you in exile. You have to say it. You're the one who sent us here. That's what he wants us to say. But guess what? We're not saying that. Guess what we're doing? We're singing. We're dancing. We're making a whole bunch of songs about stuff that has nothing to do with Yah. Has nothing to do with confession. Has nothing to do with the testify. Has nothing to do with the witness. We're not validating Yah's position. You're calling Yah a lie. Well, you know what? Yah didn't send us here. The white man put us here. That's what we're saying. IUIC and arrested them. They're blaming everybody else but themselves. Have you ever tripped off that? Have you ever tripped off the fact that they're blaming everybody else and saying that they're the reason why we're in the situation we're in today? When they don't realize that was Yah's hand, and it is today, Yah's hand. That's Yah. This is Yah's punishment.
This is Yah's correction. He can use whoever he wants, just like he did with Assyria, just like he did with Babylon, just like he did with Nebuchadnezzar, just like whoever he chooses. I'll use you as my axe. I'll use you as my rod. I'll use you as my whipping boy. I'll use whoever I got to use to get my people in line. And let Yah judge them. And he will. But everything that's happened to us is because of what we've done to the Most High, and he is the reason. He's the one who sent us here. He's the one who's turned his face against us. But we're not getting that message. Guess the message we're getting? Oh, he loves you. He loves you so much, and he forgives you. Not one time are we saying, you know what? We really messed up. We dropped the ball.
Man,
Sukkot is about time of rejoicing. We talk about everything else. Yes, I'm not saying you shouldn't rejoice on Sukkot. What I'm saying, you should have it in the front of your mind, not the back of your mind. This is not really what it's supposed to be. This is a reminder of how we failed as a people. And the only thing you need to rejoice about is the fact that the Most High decided to bring it back to your attention. To put it in your mind, to set it there for you later on so you can wake up to the fact that you are in exile, that you've gone and the blessings and cursings have come upon you. The Habaraka, which is the blessing, the Hakalala, which is the cursings. Because you treated Yah swiftly, you treated him with disrespect and dishonor, he gets rid of you and puts you outside of the land. We're confused. People don't like my teaching.
Man, when you put it like that, man, it makes you feel even worse. Like, I feel worse. I gotta say, I feel bad. Like,
you should.
Worse than I feel. Like,
no, we should be ashamed. He tells us, when I bring you back to the land, I'm not bringing you because of any good that you have done. You shall be ashamed of what you've done. But we don't feel any shame. We're a shameless whore. We committed adultery and idolatry with the Most High on our husband, unfaithful, laying up with every other guy we possibly can, killing our own children and everything. And you tell me that we're supposed to be around here singing and dancing and singing his praises in a foreign land, eating foreign food, and been taught by a whole bunch of foreigners. What is there to rejoice about? We need to check ourselves. That's why the testifying to the Sukkot is, yes, put up your sukkah, yes, decorate, yes, have a meal. But in the front of your mind, you need to remember that you don't have a basket that I asked you to bring me. On Sukkot, it wasn't about setting up just a sukkah. It was to bring Yahweh what he gave them out of the land. So if you don't have a basket and you're not bringing any Yahweh anything out of the land, it's a reminder that you have failed. Yah is not going to receive anything out of our hands out of a foreign land. Nothing. Do you not remember what they said in the songs about, they asked us to sing a song about Zion, and they said to themselves, how can we sing a song to the Most High on a foreign soil? That's contradictive. This is the reason why we're in trouble today. Because we have not accepted the fact that we are in exile and that we're in trouble, and what we've done is shameful. The heavens know it, and the earth knows it, and all the host of heaven understands it. The only ones who don't understand it is the children of Israel. We're the only ones who don't get it.
That's makes you think, man. And it like when you put it in that perspective, man, like, because I know, like, I'll be the first to like admit when I'm wrong. Like, especially especially to the Most High. Like, but when you put it to like that and that magnitude, man, I haven't even scratched the surface of Teshuvah. None of us have. That's
We
deep,
haven't.
bro.
We haven't. And it's just, look,
That
I'm
hurt.
saying this. I'm letting you know, out of love for our people, that we got to face some very hard truths. Okay, some hard facts that are not nice. It's not nice.
Damn,
This
that
ain't gonna
hurt.
be nice. It's very painful and it does hurt. You understand? But we're gonna have to accept the facts. These
Yeah,
are facts. You
facts.
understand? So yeah, so this season that we're in right now, it's a great season. It's a great season.
Very symbolic
Yeah,
too.
because we can see Yah's kindness. That's the other flip side. We can see Yah's mercy. He's been very kind to
Yeah,
us. He's allowed us to be able to see this. He allowed us to understand when he talks about testifying, we're testifying to what we've done, but we're also testifying to the kindness and the mercy of Yahweh. So
right.
look at what we've done in a very negative sense, but also look at the positive. Look at the other flip side is that he showed us kindness. You wouldn't know what this meant. Look, okay, check this out. Look at Yah's mercy. Just peep this out for a second. He tells us how much we failed. He's not saying that to cause us to continue to fail. He's saying it because he loves us and he's letting us know that you have to acknowledge that I want you to understand this, the significance of what you've done so you can change the course of action that you've been on. I show you my Moedim while you're in your exile to show you what I did do for you and how much I love you and what I did and how I cared for you. But look what you guys did to me. You understand? So in his way of correcting us, he brings us back walking, and that's what the teshuva is that you mentioned. Is to shuv and turn around. Ta
Yeah,
means you, and shuv means to return. You're returning back to Yahweh, but on your way of returning back to Yahweh, you're walking back through the path of your ancestors, and you're seeing everything that they have done against the Most High. So when you're returning, you've been walking one direction, and then he says return, and now you're returning, and you're going back the other way. You're crossing all the paths that your ancestors walked on, and you're seeing all their failures. And he wants us to see it. He doesn't want us to ignore this. You can't hide this under the blanket. Don't mention it. Don't talk about it no more. He's saying, no, deal with it. Deal with it. Because that's what the part of Teshuvah is dealing with the past. Because your past is your future. So you have to be able to deal with it. And we're not going to get an accurate assessment of how badly things are unless we start telling ourselves the truth. Sukkot was mentioning us not just so to rejoice. Sukkot was mentioning us to tell you that what you did, I took care of you in the wilderness, and look what you did to me.
what you did.
Look what you did to
Did.
me. After I did that for you, look how you treated me. You think it's about you celebrating and drinking wine? No.
Mm.
You guys didn't even show up for Sukkots. Remember that. Because when you look reading the book of Ezra, there was time he said he keeps the coat from the time of Joshua.
Mm.
They weren't keeping Sukkot. They weren't keeping it. Why? Because they weren't being witnesses to Yah. They were testifying to other Elohim.
Right.
So it's all together. It all makes sense.
Hey, this has been a beautiful, beautiful eye-opening and real talk. This is what we do at the Spit the Truth. It's about spitting the truth. It's about telling those hard truths and telling the people what they need to hear instead of what they want to hear. And I needed to hear that at that time, bro. I appreciate that. All praise to the Most High. Like, it just confirms, like, to me, like, how I should be feeling and how I should live everyday life. Like, just in not like downtrodden, but just knowing that, you know, I got a lot of work to do, and I gotta turn back to the Most High. My ancestors, they dropped the ball, and I don't want to drop the ball like them. So I have to understand what I need to do to not drop the ball, you know. But
that's
yeah,
what it's
man,
about.
that's beautiful. That was beautiful.
Yeah,
like
that's what it's about.
yeah. Go ahead.
It's very sobering, to be honest with you. It's like he gives this to us to check us. It's just to keep us in check, to let us know, like, okay, well, this is what it is. Don't look at it how it benefits you. Look at it how it is. Look at what happened. Look at the look at the heritage, and then understand how you guys have failed and what you gave up and what I did for you. Don't forget what I did, because Yah's always talking about, I'm the one who did this. I'm Yahweh. I did this. I did that. He's always trying to get us to acknowledge him. He's always trying to get us to remember. He's always like Zakor. Remember the Shabbat. Remember this. Remember this. Remember that. Remember what I did for you when I brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim. Why did he include that in on the covenant? Because he's trying to get us to remember, to always have it in the front of our minds. That's why he tells us to tie it upon your hand and the frontlets of your head, and all the Shema Yisrael, to remind us that we have a responsibility and a duty to love Yahweh with everything, because ultimately that's what this is all about. It's about loving Yah fully and completely. And if you love him, you'll testify to the fact that he loved you and that he did this and he brought you out and he delivered you and everything. But that's not being told. See, we're not telling people what Yah has done. Instead of us saying, now the bottom line is, it's not going to be the Most High who brought the children of Israel out of Egypt. That's something that's always going to be said. But now it's going to flip to Yahweh, who brought the children of Israel from all the four corners of the earth.
Four corners of the earth.
The conversation is about to change, because he's about to add something extra. He's about to add an extra niflot, which is a miraculous thing that's never been done before. We were scattered because of our disobedience, but also to show the glory of Yah when he comes and gathers from all four corners of the earth. That can only happen by his power. So it's a demonstration of his power. So in our disobedience, Yah again is going to demonstrate his power. But the appreciation that you and I are going to have for it is that you're not going to get killed in the wilderness, unlike the people who didn't recognize Yah's power.
Right.
See, let me explain something. When Yahweh reveals his power to us by delivering us, if you don't testify to that power, you're dead. That's just the way it works. So, case in point, he said to the children of Israel who saw his great miracles and powers, he said, I revealed myself to them while they were in Egypt. They refused to get rid of their gods. I was going to wipe them out. Ezekiel chapter number 20, all day long. You understand? So he said, and Moshe said, don't off them here in the wilderness, all of them, because all the nations that you revealed your arm to will see it and say that you didn't have the power to bring them in. So this has to do with Yah's power. You see that?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So it's about Yah's power. So if he reveals his power, whoever sees that power and it doesn't recognize that power is the person who's getting taken out. So the rebels who are going to see the power of Yah and they have refused to fall in line with Yah, when he brings up to the wilderness, they're dying in the wilderness, because he knows that they're not going to testify to his power. That's being a witness. His power is Pesach. His power is Sukkot. His power is the Feast of Matzah. His power is Sukkot. His power is all these different times. So it's a revelation of Yah's power.
Oh, praise, man. This has been very eye-opening. Very eye-opening. Very informative. And I hope that the people and the listening audience has, took something from this and is able to, add it to their walk in a righteous manner. Like, this is your boy B at the Spit Your Truth podcast, and this is the Sabbath Talk with Moreh Achi'ka. And this has definitely been that truth that we had to spit. It had to be said. It had to be said. And now that it's said, now that y'all know, the ball is in your court. Ball is in your court. All praise to the Most High, brother. We appreciate you. Like always, we appreciate your wisdom and your knowledge that the Most High has blessed you with. We appreciate your understanding and helping us to understand what the Most High wants from us and is requiring from us and what he's really saying. So we thank you, bro. And we can't wait to the next week to dig into some more, of what the Most High has given you. So all praises. We'll see y'all next week. This is the boy Abia on the Spit Your Truth podcast, Sabbath Talk with Moreh Achi'ka. We signing off. Peace.
Peace. Shabbat shalom.
Peace. Shabbat shalom, y'all.
In your soul, make you gain self-control. But first, you must forget all them lies we were told. Then seek wisdom so divine, knowledge and good works will align. Yeah, it's that.
What is the worth of all my works, words, and worship? Am I worthy of the purpose you have placed me in this earth for? Not even. These doubts of whether or not I'm being gold in this season is robbing me of shalom. Lo and behold, I'm filling copper penny with many a holes. Though Adonai be my hope, my source by which I'm afloat. My fortified tower come complete with a moat. Lock eyes as my feet continue to coast. My worth lies not on my own shoulders, but what my Abba's molded me into. Behold, I'm terracotta in the sun. Can't tell me nada, cause I am begotten, qualified by my Abba. Washed from the squalor. Everyone born again be a martyr. Your worth fed by works that no man can ever starve you. Outward focus so surely rob you. Thus depart from thinking you are to remain in the shards from which the Abba has bought you. Know you not the master carpenter is building you up. A Sukkot to call you his abode, to call you his own, the called abide in shalom. Despite being vagabonds with no home, his holy arm forever hold us when our strength proves weak. We can never measure up to being what we can't even see in us. But he who has numbered each kink of our hairs can see us complete. We are fair in his love. Perfection is not immaculation, it's maturation. Oblation and sweet savors be abomination. Along with our prayers, if we don't even believe Yah is faithful in using us, whether or not we perceive ourselves to be worthless. Oblation and sweet savors be abomination. Along with our prayers, if we don't even believe Yah is faithful in using us, whether or not we perceive ourselves as worthless.